Здесь просто мат в один ход, на король g4, ладья g5 и съедаем на h5. Ну, надо как-то стоять, получается, да?
Слушайте, неужели может проиграть Ян? Неужели? Не верится. Вот я так активно ищу способы добиться какой-то победы, как-то обыграть здесь белыми Яна, найти какое-то продолжение, но я это говорю, и я не осознаю, что Ян-то может проиграть.
Да, это странный тезис, но хорошо, ладно, принимается. Итак, суть позиции в следующем. Друзья мои, конечно, у белых много пешек. Для победы они должны двигаться вперед, но тогда есть вероятность получить вечный шах. Я думаю, что для начала...
Maybe he just gives 2 checks. Though it's a question, can black go king f5, knight d4, king e4? Looking for activity for his king.
So, okay.
This is a very big question. Again, Magnus is asking, make a decision, go back or go to f5?
I have a very interesting idea. I don't know if it works. But king f5, it's possible to play g4 check.
Yes, I thought about that too, but king takes and rook,
g4. Yeah, rook g6.
Rook check and king h4.
Yeah, and
king h3.
Knight d4.
Ah.
But queen a2 you have, yeah?
Yeah, probably. King h7 is played. King h7 is played.
I don't know. Also for the viewers, maybe we should show after g4 check, h4 was not working.
Well, in this position, g4, king g4, rook g6.
No, instead of king g4, yeah, if h4, that knight g3 was made.
Ah, okay. Yeah, this is a nice check.
Yeah.
So we have rook a1 on the board. This ultra solid, painful moves by Magnus.
Stopping rook h1. Sorry, stopping queen h1.
King g6 again, knight d4. So now he's going knight d4, knight e3, knight f3, very, very slowly.
Yeah.
Actually, he just didn't even want to allow him to come to h1.
Bit loose, get those coordinated, and then just slowly try to push your passed pawns. And you've got 2 of them, so you slowly try to move the pawn in the middle, the other pawn, try to get a pawn to the other end of the board, get a queen, go and celebrate, have a nice meal, get ready for tomorrow, maybe a little game of football in the morning, happy days. So that's the plan, right?
Easy.
Life's so easy.
Simple, isn't it?
Exactly.
Simple.
There's 2 ways to win this as well. Firstly, you could, as you mentioned, just push the white pawns forward step by step, just 1 step forward, then maneuver 20 moves, then another step forward, maneuver 20 moves. The other strategy is to go after black's remaining pawn. And maybe if Magnus can arrange that, he would love to go for the second kind of less committal strategy.
But where would you hide the white king?
This is the issue, where to put the white king. Black's queen is now threatening to come down to the second rank, deliver a check. As Simon mentioned, the white rook is a bit loose, so I think he'll move the rook.
Rook e1, maybe just get that rook somewhere safe, get the knight to f3. Just do it very patiently. Don't keep your pieces loose. The one way you can lose this position is to keep your rook a long way away from your king. And, OK, he's gone for another way, but I guess... Same idea, yeah. Okay.
He's covering the second rank, and if the black queen does dive into the position, dive the whole way into that bottom corner, h1, then the white knight will just step back. It's the f3 square.
And so tense now.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, look at the time as well. They're both keeping quite well in a good position on the clock here with the increment, but, you know, there's going to be some critical moments coming up, yeah?
Wow.
Another interesting tweet there by our friend Grandmaster Hushinbet. He's saying that Magnus was actually bluffing earlier, allowing the black king forward. And maybe that opportunity is passed for Nepomniachtchi.
Yep.
He does jump in with the black queen.
Yep.
We will now see the white knight retreat.
Lovely square for the knight f3, it feels. Really nice square.
Okay, first white flicks in a check, and the next move I think we'll see the white knight retreat.
Yeah.
Okay, really tense.
Great winning chances, I feel. This is one of the best winning chances surely white will get. I mean, the engine does not think so, but you have plenty of time. You can slowly move forwards here.
Just endless suffering for black.
Yeah, yeah.
But why can't Magnus push his f-pawn forwards?
I think he wants to and he can, but he just has to maybe prevent the black queen giving lots of checks first. You need to keep your king nice and safe, and that means having a knight next to it. So
Yeah.
I think Magnus's plan, once the black king retreats, it's forced back, is to bring the white knight back to the f3 square in front of the white king, avoid any checks, and then the f-pawn will start running. So I think it's just a combination of plans, putting them all together and avoiding any checks or counterplay. The last thing you want with 3 minutes is the white king out in the open getting checked forever.
Yeah. Sorry, Ivanka. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, just note how it's always the knight that's defending the king.
Yep. Yeah.
And, you know, we kind of coined this expression, well, David did, a knight is a king's best friend, but it's so good.
Knight Stable, I believe,
Yeah.
is in the chess and fishing book that is out there somewhere in the mist of the world.
I love that book.
There we go, though. Look at that knight. It is the king's best friend because no checks are available to black now. The white king looks open. The black queen looks like it's penetrated, but where's it going? No more checks. And the white knight can also spring forward at any moment to attack the black king.
You often find in these positions, though, if white has to start pushing his pawns to win this position, then you give black more checks, because those pawns are stopping your king being checked. You move them forward, you give your opponent checks.
Is it possible to start the pawn advance now?
I would get the rook to d6 first. Yeah,
very good, very good.
Just get the rook somewhere where it's safe. It can't be lost. Don't. At least the rook can come back to guard your second rank now. And then put the pawn on e5. Get the pawn up 2 squares. Is very easy way to play, I think.
Most likely the e-pawn will push forward before the f-pawn, right? Because the e-pawn, at the moment, if the f-pawn pushes forward for white, it would be disconnected from either of its 2 remaining pawns. So you want to kind of connect them together step by step.
Yeah. Keep
And so the next move that you're predicting here is just drop the rook back to the d4 square.
I think so. Yeah, maybe.
You have you can hide the king on h3.
Maybe keep the king there. Maybe go like I want to get my pawn to e4, so I either go rook e2 or knight g5 at the right moment. Get the pawn to 2 squares forwards.
Yep.
And then I just try to queen my Eddie the Eagle. The e-pawn. You must know Eddie the Eagle in Norway.
Of course.
What a hero.
Oh,
he came to Norway and he conquered the ski jump.
The ski jumping miracle, Eddie the Eagle. Of course we know him.
Yeah, legend.
There's a movie made about him recently.
It's a great movie, actually. Really good movie. Really fun. So,
Okay, so white stepped back with the rook, attacking a pawn. Black gave a check, and now the rook is forced to block. So white's rook and knight teaming up. Look at Nepomniachtchi. He's not enjoying this at all.
Yeah.
No.
He knows
You think he now is going to lose? Does he think he's going to lose?
yeah, I think he's very confident, and he's just probably trying to stop thinking like that. He's got to just play the best moves.
I think he knows he's in for a long night. He knows he's going to miss dinner. He knows his sleeping pattern is going to be messed up tonight. The adrenaline will be pumping long after this game is finished.
Yeah.
And it's in these type of moments when you start to think of what happened before, and he will remember that he had a good position before, that it was unnecessary of him to get himself into this
Got to
situation.
get rid of those faults, haven't you? Got to get rid of those faults.
Absolutely, but it's so difficult to stop that little.
Yeah, queen b6 is most resilient. King g2, you want queen b5, yeah?
Yeah, queen b5 somehow always bother. Keep white busy with always with something. Queen b6 is
Queen b6 on the board.
4 minutes against 4. 92nd, 93rd move. We are reaching very shortly to move 100.
They play this game for 7 hours. They attend press conference, get some sleep, wake up in the morning, and start checking lengths because you have a game. Can you imagine this?
Such a difficult game, this one, for both of them. Such a difficult, long game. I think it takes out more energy than probably half of the other games took. Don't you think
Yes.
so?
Yeah, easily.
So right now, Magnus is not sure how to continue.
Trying to make it as difficult as possible for Magnus to move his pawns and get a queen in the position. So, yeah.
There we saw Magnus just doing a bit of counting, also maybe trying to avoid a threefold repetition. Remember, it's not if the moves repeat themselves, if the position repeats itself 3 times by accident, then the game will be a draw. So Magnus has to keep putting his rook on different squares. He doesn't want to allow the position to repeat. And meanwhile, Nepomniachtchi smiling. He is extremely good at these types of positions. I think White has great winning chances still. But remember, Magnus himself mentioned Nepomniachtchi. When queens are on the board in endgames, he's one of the best in the world.
Wow. All right, he's going to need that now, I guess, because it's been 7 hours at the board. They must be starting to feel tired.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have all the energy in the world. So,
keep each other going, Simon.
Yeah.
We can do this.
That's it. And, okay, well, again, it's great defence still, it seems. Keeping active.
Yeah, the knight goes back to the middle to defend its rook.
It seems they're still writing on the score sheet. I thought they didn't have to.
No, they have to because they get an extra 30
Okay,
seconds
so it's
per
only when
move.
there's no increment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now a threat on the board. Queen h2 threatened, and do you think you'll see your move, knight going back to f3?
Yeah, maybe. I think the knight has just come from
It's
there.
just come
Johan?
from
So
there. That would be a second repetition.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to really. You want to avoid the repetition if you can. So
Maybe a check first,
check.
and then the knight drops
yeah.
back.
But you have to be very careful. You don't fall into a repetition in these kind of positions.
Incredibly easy to do.
Unless your opponent misses it as well. So it's okay. So the rook does come down.
Okay.
Very tense.
Will the Black King march forward? Yeah, no danger for it there.
Yeah.
And now, what are we expecting? The knight to drop back?
I think so.
Maybe another check with the white rook first.
And I think Magnus has just got to try to work a way to get this pawn forwards to keep winning chances alive here. So I guess the knight will come back, but then the queen stops the pawn again. They're doing this dance at the moment.
No progress yet for the world champion. Okay, he needs to come up with a plan. He's still got 3 minutes. He's moved around a lot, but nothing has changed in the last...
No progress.
I like your idea of just giving the king one more check, nudge it to a square, and then retreat the knight. Because, you know, if the king is in the wrong square, maybe there are some tactical points to pushing the pawn up.
You need to trick Nepomniachtchi to put the Black King on the bad square, so there are some knight jumps, Okay, there we go. It's a check. The rook defended by a knight, so the Black Queen can't take it.
For example, if you go king f7, then I think that's a bad square for the king, because you can play maybe knight f3 and e4 next move, whatever Black plays. So it's...
But you're allowing some checks, right?
There's a choice of 3 squares. Where's Black going to go? Let's guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, actually. So maybe g7. I like keeping the king tucked away in the corner if I can.
Not too out in the open.
Get it in the corner.
Oh, he's dropped back to the square. You said maybe was a bit suspicious.
Yeah, well, I wasn't so sure because I thought the knight can now come round and e4 will come probably here, whatever.
It needs to be the king's best friend, that knight again. Needs to drop back, right?
Yeah. So, for example, if you did play knight f3, queen b1, I don't know if it's worth showing it, e4 is an idea.
They've had a position very similar to this, actually.
So... Yeah, already this has nearly repeated itself, the position. The white knight has to drop back just to cover any checks, just to cover any annoyances, and it does so. Magnus has played this, and if the Black Queen comes across, you're expecting maybe...
Well, I don't know about this because it is a check, but it's just an idea that's very playable because you can't take that pawn because now the Black King is in a bad square. So it's potentially an idea.
A fork, whoops. A fork, and the Black Queen would drop off. So this is what Magnus is trying to achieve, and this is the current position. If he pushes this pawn forward, it is a trap. The Black Queen can't take it because of this fork, this check, but suddenly the White King has no shelter. White would love this position, actually, on this square. And then
brilliant,
I mean, if White could somehow put the rook on this square and meet a check with the White rook blocking somehow, then that would be ideal. And he would have got his pawn 1 square further forward. But right now, it's not quite working for Magnus. Maybe he needs to remaneuver, go back to basics, go back to square 1 and try and achieve the same position, but with the white rook on this square.
And Magnus makes his move. If we are getting very close now to move 100.
Well, he's gone for a check with the knight, so I'm kind of seems a little bit odd because his knight and rook are discoordinated, and the way you play against the queen, as we've mentioned, is keep your minor pieces defending each other, and they've gone the other way here. So, what is the idea, Hal?
Maybe the idea is actually to push the pawn forward and tuck the king into the corner.
Yeah. Put it on h3, maybe.
Yeah.
That would be very, very brave if the white king can run over to the one side, hide behind its own pawns.
We've talked about Jan being very good with the queen. I mean, another thing, Magnus, when I've seen him playing the Champions Tour, is exceptional with the queen moves. I mean, you have to be, so he realises if he's going to push the pawn, I'm pretty sure he's going to be very safe there, you know, or know that his rook's going to be safe.
Yeah, it always takes courage, though, with 2 minutes on the clock to allow lots of checks.
Yeah, but maybe you just have to play it at some point. I mean, you have to push that pawn.
Yeah.
It's not an ideal scenario to push it, though.
The safe move would be giving a check with the white knight, then planting it back on the d4 square with them in the middle of the board. But that would just repeat the position and not make any progress.
Yeah.
What happens if Magnus now soon is able to move a pawn? Is it over for Jan? Or will it be hard for Magnus to get the pawn all the way over to the other side?
It'll be a moral victory for Magnus.
Yeah.
I mean, he might push a pawn and then have to go round in circles again for 20 moves before pushing it once more. But Jan, we'll see lots of facial expressions from Jan if white's able to safely push a pawn.
Just the joy in your voice, David.
Oh, sorry.
You said, like, you know, push it one square, another 40 moves, one more square. They are definitely going for the world record, yeah? So
98 moves so far. I wonder who predicted that they would last for 100 moves today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You should get bonus points for over 100.
They should.
Definitely. And the world record, in a world championship match was 124. Magnus has made his move 100.
Okay.
Reaching 100.
He's trying to get everything, isn't he, Magnus? He's trying to keep the coordination whilst he pushes the pawns, but so far Jan has done a fantastic job of stopping that pawn going.
And Jan's playing quickly as well.
Yeah.
He's trying to apply that pressure on the clock.
Yeah.
Now the white knight has to drop back. Right now,
Drop
knight...
in the centre. But... And it's still the same idea. The queen tucks itself in the corner. The white knight will come back to its square. But how many times have they repeated that position?
That's why I'm wondering. You have to be careful with this free
Second time,
Yeah.
I think, if black puts the queen in the corner.
And what move is it actually going to be a draw? This is the other thing.
32. So they've still got time. They've got 32 moves.
Okay.
Magnus, look at him. He's counting on his score sheet right now.
Yeah. And he's probably looking at the free fold as well.
It's difficult, to be honest, as well, when you have several score sheets to keep track of the number of moves. Because often, I don't know in this World Championship, but often each score sheet starts from 1. So you have to do a bit of maths. You have to think, okay, 60 plus another 38 plus another, so on. Okay, second time we've seen this position. Magnus has to be really careful now not to allow an immediate draw.
So I think we are now at move 100, Jerry, you said. So
That's right.
Move 100 on the dot.
Move 101 now from Magnus. He gives a check.
And actually, Askil down in Dubai just made us aware of a tweet. So it is the 124 move that is the longest game, but it ended in a draw. The longest one ending up with a victory was Kasparov-Karpov in 1990, 102 moves. And look where we're at.
Yeah.
If Magnus wins this one, then he'll be breaking several records, most likely.
Yep.
Definitely.
Okay. So I think Jan as well. Just looking at the score sheet there, then looking confused for a second. I'm wondering, let me go back and count. I'm wondering whether this position's been repeated as well.
Because it's so hard to claim a draw. I mean, if you're in Jan's position, the way you claim a free-fold draw is one of the most ridiculously tricky rules in chess. You don't make your move. You have to stop the clock. You have to call the arbiter over it. It's not easy to do, and
your opponent gets more time if you're wrong as well.
Yeah, which is difficult.
It's a factor at this point.
I remember in the old days that if you played an illegal move, your opponent gets more time. And I remember there was one guy playing blitz chess, and he would do this on purpose. He'd play an illegal move, but whilst the arbiter came over and gave his opponent more time, it gave him an extra 30 seconds to think about the position he was in. And he kept doing it. And yeah, a bit cheeky. But
of course, nowadays in blitz chess, I think the second illegal move loses the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe it's even the first illegal move loses the game. Yeah. So in FIDE World Championships,
but they've got to be careful now of this free fold. Surely, this position must be very close to being a free fold, no?
They're both studying the score sheet. I don't think White's rook has landed on this square before, if I remember correctly. It's been on d6, it's been on d2, it's been on d5, but not d7.
Yeah.
So
is the arbiter now getting involved? You know,
they're lurking, the arbiters now.
Yeah, they're like, right, I've got to make myself important there, just so they know I'm ready for the free fold.
Well, it seems that Magnus needs to just keep a bunch of focuses in his head, so it's keeping the knight close to the king so the king can't be checked, and it's keeping the rook off squares it's been on before, and it's also trying to push a pawn.
Yep. And avoid the free fold, avoid the 50 move rule.
Keeping the rook safe.
Yes, there's a lot to think of, yeah. And that's when it gets hard, because you're used to thinking of the chess, but when you're worried about slipping into a draw, and you know, you've got to multitask a lot. Yeah, you're right.
But I have to say, Nepomniachtchi maybe made it a little bit of an... No, because he has had this, almost had this position, but the queen was on the A2 square. And also the king was a different place, so they're fine when it comes to threefold repetition at the minute.
Magnus is not certain. He was studying the score sheet for a while. Eventually he realises, first time we've seen this position, and he retreats the rook. So it has to be the same position with the same player to move. And actually, even the top players, they struggle sometimes with the threefold repetitions, I've noticed. Fabiano Caruana once claimed against me that he repeated the position 3 times, and it was 3 times, but the 3rd time was with a different player to move. Right. So you've got to be really careful.
It's nice to have him begging for a draw against you, David. So
he got the draw, don't worry. He got the draw eventually.
Well, at least you made him beg for a little bit, yeah? So only the ex-world champion, you know, very impressive.
So now could it be a good idea to set some tricks, like for instance, give a check to the king, and then come back? Well, no, but then I'm not doing anything.
No, you've got to be very careful what moves you waste now, because you waste another move, you're just giving more chances of having that draw free fold. So I think you've got to really use each move now. I don't know how he gets his e-pawn moving. I thought it was easy, but it's not, right?
Really not.
It's really tricky to move that one.
Credit to Jan Nepomniachtchi as well. He's put the black queen on the right circuit. He's going with this triangle all on.
Sorry, I see an awesome trick. If you go knight g5...
Okay, we have to show this.
And then you go queen b6 to stop it moving.
Okay.
Then rook d6 check, is that right?
Oh, wow, Simon.
That's a nasty trick. Knight g5 to try and go e4, and Jan defended with queen b6 before. And if he plays it here, you go rook d6 check, I think. This is one of those tricks which is incredibly naughty.
24 seconds left for Magnus Carlsen on the clock.
Yeah. The problem is that the queen will just slide over to the h1 square.
That's a nasty tactic, Simon.
Lovely.
Meanwhile, we have seen an interesting move, a new try by Magnus Carlsen. So instead of playing for this trick, I think he maybe could have tried it once, setting this nasty trap for Jan Nepomniachtchi. Instead of this, Magnus has gone the other direction. Maybe Jovanka was right. If the knight had come this way, the black queen would simply go back to the corner. And notice how the queen is staying in this kind of triangle zone. It's just using all the light squares, stopping the white pawn moving forward and harassing the white king from behind. That is why Magnus retreated his knight this way, to stop the black queen's access to the corner square. And maybe now, next move, Magnus will just shift the rook across one square and start motoring forward with these pawns. At least he's offered a new idea, and at least he's got Nepomniachtchi thinking. But Magnus, low on the clock. I'm not sure that clock time is right, but he's low on time for sure.
Yeah.
And he has a plan, at least. He has a plan to push this pawn forward.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with the clock time for Magnus?
Well, it has to be, because you can't have 18.8 seconds.
So probably he didn't gain the 30 seconds that he should have gained.
According to mine, he has just under 2 minutes, Magnus Carlsen. So
okay.
I'm not sure if that's correct. We'll try and update as soon as possible.
And perhaps we could also get an image of the chess clock. There we are.
He has 46 seconds.
Wow.
46 seconds.
That's not a lot of time, is it?
Especially when you're facing threats like this one. Black's queen attacking the white rook now.
Defending so well. So impressive.
But now it could be a little bit tricky, because you move the rook.
Okay, he's moved it back.
Okay.
He's covered the first rank. Maybe this is Magnus's plan. So he's going to put the knight back where it came from to cover the second rank. The white rook will cover the first rank, and then the white rook will slide the whole way across to try and target Black's isolated pawn.
Wow.
Ooh.
Dinky, but it's still
sophisticated. But what does it achieve? That's the question.
Yeah,
and he's running out of moves.
Yeah, he's running out of moves. Great defence from Jan so far. He's playing brilliantly to not blunder, to not allow Magnus to do the moves he wants to play.
Okay, so the rook will probably slide over to... No? I was expecting the rook to go to the e1 square.
Okay, Magnus, he's gone. I mean, he's really risking here because he's putting the rook back on a square it's been on before.
Yeah.
I guess the white knight, it's been on the f3 square before. It wants to go to the e2 square, so maybe slightly different. But yeah, he's got to keep all those positions in his mind for the last, 25 moves now. He's got to remember where the rook was, where the knight was, so he doesn't repeat. And only 25 moves before he has to push a pawn or win a pawn.
Yeah.
25, that's the magic number.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, what a game, you guys. What a game. Jan Nepomniachtchi is, he has more time on the clock at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But 5 minutes, they could disappear very quickly if he runs into a trick or two, if he has some problems to solve. And already he's deciding where to put the king. Is he considering going active with the black king again? Ivanka's shaking her head.
I mean,
No.
if he goes to f5, I mean, that is... should get an award for bravery.
Medal of Courage.
I mean, like, yeah, Medal of Courage King.
Why is that so dangerous? Just because it's closer to Magnus's pieces?
The black king might get trapped if it marches forward, and yeah, if it came down the board, then the white knight would spring forward and try to trap the black.
There's just no way he's going to do that because he hasn't done that in previous moves when it was okay, and it is okay. I'm just looking at the computer assessment.
Yeah.
But
high risk.
exactly. Why disturb the whole balance?
Unless he suddenly tries to decide he wants to try and win, which should be a little bit too much, I feel.
What's Magnus going to do with his rook now? He's going to retreat at 2 squares. He wants this pawn to march forward. He has a setup in mind. He wants to put the white knight on the e2 square next to the white king.
Very nice.
And finally push that pawn forward.
It's incredible how he's found some way to do something here. I mean,
he's like a contortionist. He's like popped out his arm. He's just one direction. Then he's kind of switched everything around. Now he's trying a different way.
Is this where you need to be a creative chess player to constantly find new ideas?
Yeah. I mean, you can't just be direct. There's no direct path to victory. So.
But the thing is, though, it is a little bit smokes and mirrors because I don't actually see this whole plan working so well because the whole thing is that the black queen can transition to the h1 square. If she gets there, then the knight is not well placed on e2.
But there's only one check, though, isn't there?
Well, she's going to put herself on b1.
And then white pushes the pawn forward.
Yeah, and and then I had something up my sleeve, which was to give a check. I know. Well, that wasn't.
White knight is going to block any checks on the second rank.
Yeah, that wasn't my plan.
Knight on e2 is really good at stopping checks, isn't it? Actually, I mean, even if you get to h2, it's so. I mean,
I think black has to try and eliminate his remaining isolated pawn for one of the white pawns. He has to try and prepare pushing that pawn forward once the white knight goes in the wrong direction. I'm not sure how you do that with black. How does Nepomniachtchi trade off his remaining pawn for one of white's pawns?
In time situation, well, they're still roughly around the same time unit, but you can tell this is where the fitness really comes into it. And this is, I think, why chess is one of the hardest games in the world. It's not because of the amount of combinations, it's not because of the amount of preparation you do, it's actually because you cannot make a little slip up. I mean, you mentioned chess and tennis. In tennis, you can lose a point, you can still win. In golf, you can play a bad shot, you can still win. There's, snooker, the same. I'm just thinking of any other sport or game out there, well, maybe other games, but there's not many other sports where you can afford, in chess, you can't afford to make a mistake, even if it's a small mistake.
You have to be alert for 7.5 hours or however long the players have been going. Okay, he does move the queen. That's a check, forcing the white knight to block. And then I think he's going to go for your plan, Ivanka. He's going to bring the queen to the first rank. And you mentioned tennis again. I remember this one game at Wimbledon, this one match. I think it lasted, 10.5 hours? One tennis game.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
10.5 hours?
Yeah, it went to like 68, 66 in the final set in terms of...
and no one stepped in and said...
Oh, yeah, have a break.
The rules, you have to play until one guy wins 2 games more than the other. So.
Wow, yeah, it's incredible.
Or someone dies by the same time.
Or that. All right, 110 moves in Game 6, you guys. Magnus Carlsen, 1.5 minutes left on his clock. Just desperately looking for a way to win this game.
And Jan making it as difficult as possible for the Norwegian.
Impressive stuff by Jan Nepomniachtchi, right? We have
with time because he went down and he's continuously in time trouble, which is not very normal for him. Though in this position, he knows exactly that it's only him who can win this game. But it's a huge difference whether he can break through and win this game and take the lead in the match. It is something huge. And finally, in move 110, e4 is played. e4 is played. So let's see what is the new strategy of Jan now. So far in the last 20 moves, he was fighting against this move, that this move is not possible to be played by white, but from e2 the knight was regrouped to f3, seemed to be the best place. Then Jan found the way to stop e4. This is why white had to be regrouping back his knight to e2. After that, to have rook on d4. This is how he was able to play e4. Queen h1 stands on the table. On the board.
All right, I'm back. So what changed?
e4. e4 is done.
Just a second.
Breakthrough e4, but now queen on h1 and looking for counter chances. Probably some h4 will be also happening shortly. Now the question is whether white wants to go e5, f5, or possibly going king e3, rook d7 check, of course. Again, now Magnus is up to 1 minute, and Jan is 3.5.
Sorry, I could not hear you. There were some issues with the audio. Yeah. Oh.
Basically, e4.
On that question, it's not easy, right? If the black king now comes down the board to the 6th rank, then maybe it's in some danger. It goes back. Nepomniachtchi, I think that shows he's slightly worried of the black king's safety.
Yeah, apparently it was okay to go on the 6th row, but this is computer chess, and
maybe the margins would have been, the margin for error would have been smaller there.
But
what do we
still,
think? Is Magnus going to push his, move his king now? Is he going to bring his king forward to protect his central pawn, or is he just going to push that pawn? Or mush that pawn, should I say?
Mush it.
mush it.
Mush it, son.
I think has he gone for the push?
No, he's retreated his rook back where it came from.
Okay, so
he's
just he's taking his time. There's no point rushing, is there now? I mean, that pawn's going to move every 43rd move. Have they made the record yet? They're going to break the world record, aren't they?
For sure, 100%.
12 more moves.
Yeah.
Has he played h4?
Okay, he's given a check first,
check.
forcing the white king even further forward.
And now h4.
Yeah.
Swap off those pawns.
All I can think of is that I'm so happy this game didn't happen the day after my birthday.
Imagine.
Oh, that would have been a real struggle.
On your birthday.
Yeah, one of them be passing out somewhere.
Oh, yeah. But it would have been Magnus's birthday as well.
Would have been, yeah. See.
This is the gift he gave himself, a 120 move game. But okay, white's king is safe. This is why knights are so good at protecting kings. There's no checks. And what is Nepomniachtchi pausing? What is he thinking about? Because there's no plan for black other than trading off his pawn for one of the white pawns.
Yeah, he's got to play this move.
He's got to play it. He can delay it maybe one move longer, Jan, but that would give one move to white to push those pawns.
Does that start to get to table base? We know table base is 5.
Question we should check.
So I think we got table base on gchess.com. Should have, so I can check that anyway.
Those are the endgame table bases. So when there's a few pieces left on the board, when there's a low number of pieces, computers have actually calculated the answer to every position. So, okay, we did see black push a pawn, white took, and a check before black recaptures. So
Sorry, David, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, right now, it's clear. It's just rook, knight, and 2 pawns against a lone queen. Will those 4 pieces outpower the queen? It's not clear.
It feels like, you're always going to have many checks in these positions. But again, maybe we can get the actual official... We're probably going to get what the computer verdict here, the official computer verdict very soon, because it is a table-based position.
It is a table-based position. It says draw with best play.
Wow.
But these are 2 humans playing, so we will find out.
And I did see a slight smile on Jan Nepomniachtchi's face. Do you think these players are aware of the World Championship record of 124 moves?
I doubt
There we go, another smile.
Yeah.
I doubt they're aware of the record. Maybe Magnus, he's a student of chess history, but I think Jan's just thinking, okay, come on, give me a draw, let's go for dinner. Let me off, we're friends. But no, this is a World Championship match.
We've been talking about the arbiter today. Should the arbiter come over when they reach move 125 and say, congratulations, you guys?
Absolutely not. It would be disturbing the players' concentrations. You know, they're there deep in thought in the zone, and the arbiter comes, woo!
I think he,
Maybe like, yeah, it's a celebration.
I'd love to see him come over with like a magnum of champagne. Just,
or even Guinness
like,
World Record book coming in, making a moment out of it.
some fanfare.
Actually, in Spain a few weeks ago, I think I was on move 120 or 130, and I was playing against Arkady Naidic, a very strong grandmaster. And then the arbiter came over. He had no idea what was going on. I don't think he even played chess, but he just lifted up my pen from my score sheet, studied the amount of moves, counting out loud while I had 30 seconds on the clock. And he didn't understand why I was unhappy.
So, I mean, arbiters, please.
They're the best of the best at the World Championship, of course. Full credit to the arbiters there. They deserve to be there.
Yeah.
You have to say that now, yeah.
I love
It's
you.
not what you think, is it? So, but, I mean, I remember, again, it was Grishchuk, I think he was telling me that, you know, chess players want to be chess players. Failed chess players become coaches. Failed coaches become commentators. and then maybe failed commentators become arbiters. Maybe that is...
Is that our future, Simon? Looking 20 years down the line.
That is definitely not your future, because you're not failed commentators. You're not even failed chess players. Come on.
Thank you, Claire.
No, it's all fun and games, but no, I don't know. I mean, no, it's a really valid thing to be an arbiter, and we are joking a bit, and if you're a good arbiter, well done.
Yes, you're worth your weight in gold.
Yes.
Yeah. We need you. We need you for your great arbitering skills.
We need you for our stories here on the show.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, Black's queen finding a different angle to start checking from. White's rook can block, but the rook just came from there.
And this definitely looks like a completely new position.
Yeah,
to me.
It is for now.
I mean, those pawns, I mean, if I was defending here, I'd still be very worried, because I'm just thinking those pawns, bit by bit, are just coming up the board.
Step by step.
And what do I do? How do I stop them? So I'm you know, amazed that this is actually an officially draw. I don't think we've ever seen an ending like this in World Championships either.
Definitely.
Incredible ending.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
Completely new scenario for the players. And
Yeah.
Kudos to them.
So you were talking about table-based draw. What is table-based draw? Why that word?
It's basically like computers have solved certain positions in chess, and the positions they've solved are when there's 5 pieces or left, which we have here, if I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I can't even count now. 7 pieces, maybe?
Including the king 7. That's the
right.
limit.
So they've solved chess, so they know the perfect moves in these endings, and they know exactly what the result should be. Normally, computers are incredibly strong, but they can't. They haven't solved chess yet. So that's where it's called table-based. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's a table base of a hash of many variations which they've just worked out. So they know that this position with perfect play is a draw.
Yeah.
That's with perfect play, which is not often what happens at any level of human chess.
The interesting moment with table base is always when there's a narrow margin. For example, we might say a draw now, but later on, Black might only have 1 move to draw, or might only have 2 moves to hold the game. That's when it's interesting to check these things, but also to analyse your own endgames. And meanwhile, Magnus, I'm loving his strategy. As you guys probably know, he's not committing, he's not touching his pawns. He pushed a pawn earlier. We saw a trade on move.
Oh, look, he's coming with a champagne. Just perfect in the UAE. I guess just maybe not in the UAE. But
Score sheets.
I thought it was the magnum of champagne. Get it out there.
And remember, score sheets only hold 60 moves per player. And now we're at move 120.
Wow.
That means they finished their second score sheet already, onto score sheet number 3.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
Do you reckon they got enough score sheets? What if he's run out of score sheets?
I
Someone's
think
running
they're
down to the
safe.
local shop.
I think they're okay.
You know, you have to...
But I must admit, I was trying to work out what's going to happen if White just starts pushing those pawns forward.
That's why I don't understand.
Enough of this waiting.
I know. I'm just go F5, go
Exactly.
Push them. I mean, I guess
get them going.
he's probably got in the back of his mind that story about David.
Если такое не знаешь, можно и не понять, можно и не разобраться.
Ну, такие идеи, в принципе, за доской можно находить, просто от безысходности. Ну, а что делать? Если вот пешка идет вперед, кто-то должен же ее блокировать. Я думаю, что самое страшное для черных, если у них ферзь будет вынужден блокировать пешку, и не будет возможности наносить какие-то шахи. Скорее всего, такую пассивную роль на себя должен брать именно король. Вот. А ферзь должен проявлять все-таки активность. Ну, например, прямо сразу можно сыграть Е5.
Третий бланк пошел в строй.
Третий бланк, да.
А я ради интереса посмотрела, сколько длилась самая долгая шахматная партия. Вы знаете, Сергей Юрьевич?
254, да?
269 ходов.
269, да.
Была сыграна в Белграде в 1989 году и длилась она 20 часов и 15 минут.
Последовало конь G3. Вот, вы знаете, Магнус, он еще настолько вкрадчивый товарищ, что он еще и, вот, казалось бы, уже напрашивается движение пешек вперед, а ему надо еще и еще улучшать свою позицию. Так. А король F3, а если шах на D1? Я не совсем понял. Так.
Шах снова.
А вы знаете, друзья мои, в чем заключаются нюансы правил? Что шахматисты обязаны записывать ходы. Вот сейчас 122-й ход, 30 секунд есть добавление на партию, а они по закону должны записывать ходы. Если кто-то бросит запись, судья подойдет и потребует, скажет, что обязательно надо ходы записывать.
Вот D2. Вот сейчас только бы не повторилась позиция. Ферзь B3. А между тем в Дубае через 2 минуты уже наступит новый день.
А там на час впереди, что ли, да?
Да.
Серьезно?
Король G2, повторения нету.
Угу.
Да, там же партия в 16:30 начинается.
Да, согласен.
Король G2, надо активизировать короля на G5.
Ну, вот
Ведем короля на G5.
мне немножечко, так, меня снова удручает то, что Ян не подвигает короля. Ну, короля-то пододвинуть, ну где-то блокировать-то надо все-таки эти пешки. Ферзь b7 пошел, да? Пока связываем пешку на e4. Ладья d2. Ладья d2. Ну, Магнус, конечно, здорово чувствует взаимодействие фигур, здорово знает, как надо их расположить, чтобы соперник не мог ничего серьезного противопоставить. Вот здесь, видите, король на g2, ладья по второму.
Wants to block the check, but when they get very near to queening, the black queen can get around behind and have many checks. But for a human, even if this is a table-based draw, even if this is a draw, it's so hard to find those right checks at the right time. So if I was a gambling man, which clearly I'm not,
you never would.
I'd probably.
You'd back white.
I don't know. I'd give 55%, 60% for white to win this.
I agree.
It's yeah.
I was wondering.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I was wondering.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
We do have some sparkling. It's alcohol-free, of course, but...
What? Don't get my hopes.
Of a new world record. Simon, would you do the honors?
What does that say on the front card? Does it say Williams?
It says
Williams
Williams pair.
Simon Williams.
All right. Well,
Look
pop
at
it,
that.
Simon, and let's celebrate a new world record.
Brilliant. Alcohol-free. Just
Fantastic.
what I need at this time of night.
For the viewers at home, have something.
It's sugar, though. It's sugar.
It's
So,
sugar.
yeah,
Thank
we
you
need
for
that.
my alcohol-free champagne.
And it's
Right.
popping.
I better be careful of the computers. This could go wrong. Shall I pop it properly or?
Twist the bottom
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
corks there?
Yeah. That's right. Is that what you do?
Apparently. Ah, there we
Look
go.
at that. It was calm.
That was kind
That
of
was
calm.
just. I should have. Yeah, that was a bit wet.
Yeah, well.
That was a bit wet. Sorry there. Oh, okay.
World record.
Okay. I guess I better pour ladies first. I
Yes,
guess.
please.
Okay,
I'm
let's
sending my
do it.
glass over.
Yeah, while we pour that, Magnus has been in the tank. No move. He's been thinking. Will
Sparkling.
he push a pawn?
Sorry. So we are drinking sparkling non-alcoholic apple and Williams pear. Very nice.
Sounds
Very
healthy.
nice.
Good stuff. It sounds healthy. Far too healthy.
Yeah, we have to celebrate the small things in life. Wow,
do.
that's a big
This is a big
thing.
one.
It's a big thing,
World
yeah.
record. So
I will celebrate harder tonight if they break the 269 world record for the longest game.
glass there, sir.
Yeah, then we need the real stuff. I agree.
Yeah.
Then we'll head down to the good night.
Yeah.
But either way, I was just thinking about black plans while we've been set up with our drinks. Thank you, Simon. If the white pawn step forward too soon, I think maybe black's idea will be to march the black king into the centre of the board to blockade the white pawns. And maybe there'll be some holes left behind. So you have to be careful which white pawn you push. Either way, it's time for that moment.
Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
135 years of World Championship history. We have a world record today.
Brilliant.
Cheers to everyone.
And cheers to the viewers, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Cheers,
everyone.
guys.
And all the poor camera people and everyone who's working overtime as well.
Poor arbiters.
Oh, who cares about them? They've got to get their pay.
Arbiters as well.
Actually sounds like I hate arbiters. I don't. I love them.
I have some good arbiter friends, actually.
I do, yeah. To all the arbiters out there.
I have some good arbiter friends, actually.
I do.
And of course to Magnus and Jan sitting there.
Listening to us, all their blood,
more
sweat,
than
and tears.
7.5 hours
Just
now
in
playing this
one
game. Yeah.
Giving everything to us.
Meanwhile,
Blood, sweat, and tears. An outpost defended by pawn. He's getting ready to march the white king forward.
meanwhile,
White pawns put his rook on an outpost defended by pawn. He's getting ready to march the white king forward. The white pawns will soon start to push as well.
I've been trying to figure out what is the best configuration for the king
Push
and
as
the
well.
knight and the rook. To figure out what is the best configuration. When you do advance the pawns, you want your king to be in the safest square. I mean, how far up the board can the king go? The white king, that is.
It's difficult. I think as soon as the white king goes to the side of the board now, the black queen will swing across and trap it on the side of the board. The white king wants to kind of be semi in the centre, but not quite. I think it just wants to stop the black queen getting close to it. So, okay, Magnus first just giving a check. He's happily just stacking up those moves, racking up the move count. And remember, the last capture was on move 115. So he's done nothing for 12 moves. But
you guys just hang around far too much together. You really do. It's just like, you know, I bet you...
me and Magnus, yeah?
Yeah, I bet you just have... I bet you have jokes. You're like, Magnus, if you get a chance, try to get to 200 moves. All right, Dave, I'll do it just for you. And it's like, yeah.
I can exclusively reveal that when I played a 143 move game recently, he did message afterwards, so he was watching.
Right, so he's definitely trying to beat 143.
Yeah. What did he say, David?
He said something about good stamina, old man, I think. But he's right, it's not easy for sure, the stamina. And the players, remember, there's a game tomorrow. They will be feeling it tomorrow as well. So it's not just about putting Nepomniachtchi under pressure now, it's about putting him under pressure over the next 24 hours.
Will a long game like this break the routine?
For me, no, it's just an average Friday, but for Nepomniachtchi, for sure, it will break the routine. I mean, he won't be able to prepare tonight. He's lost a few hours where he could be studying openings. He's lost a few hours where he could just be hanging out, having dinner with his friends, with his team. Yeah. Of course, it breaks Magnus's routine as well, but maybe he thinks it's worth it. And, okay, another check, another king move. And the black king all the way back to its starting square. Move 129, and the black king is back where it started the game.
Wow. That's quite nice, this drink, by the way.
Yeah, well, it was
not bad, is it?
Cold and sugar. It was just perfect.
Give me some sugar.
Yeah.
Well, we have
here
a
we go
pawn
again.
move.
Whoa.
So that means 179 now.
Yeah.
All right.
But it means that Magnus doesn't necessarily want to break the world record. Otherwise, he would have waited till move 160.
Oh, my word.
That's well, okay, so how could we see this game end at some point? How could it end? What is Magnus trying to do? Obviously, get his pawns over to the other side. Yep. When will he give up? What will have him give up?
I think the only way Magnus will ever give up this one is if black achieves perpetual check, which means checking forever, and white's king being unable to escape those checks. Or the position repeating itself 3 times. Or maybe the 50-move rule. I don't think Magnus will offer a draw unless there's really no chances left anymore.
No, he's going to try every single thing. I suppose, again, we've talked about why this might be a draw. White's pieces are going up the board, and at some point they just have to go all the way up the board, and that will leave the white king very exposed to checks from behind. At the moment, they kind of cover things more, but the further they get up, the more checks that black has. But I think if you get the right configuration of pieces, then you can still win this one, definitely. So it's really... Well, I mean, maybe 50-50 is a fair result. I mean, between a draw and a win. I keep changing my mind, but I don't know. Well, I mean, David, what do you think?
Yeah, I
What
would
chances are here?
be inclined to agree. I think the winning chances for Magnus are just as good as the likelihood it'll end in a draw. And there we go. The black queen pinning the white rook, but white's king is going to move again. And we're going to go round and round in circles for a while, and then another white pawn will push later on.
And look at that. In honor of the new world record, Chess24 Premium is having a flash sale. So you can now get 50% off Chess24 Premium membership. And remember, they do have this new very, very, very cool play zone on Chess24. So that is a great sale to join in on. Flash sale 50 on Chess24. That is the code to use.
I told you guys, chess is the winner today. Everyone's the winner at home celebrating this with a bargain.
And I heard if you are an arbiter, you get Chess24, all the chessball courses free because of my insults. I'm joking. I do want to say, I feel really bad now. There's so many great arbiters out there.
And he just trashed them all.
I only trashed a percentage of them. Most of you are lovely. So next time I'm playing a tournament, just go easy on me, please. You know, first round, black pieces, second round, black pieces, third round. No, I love arbiters, really.
In the bar now. Is that the highest it's been all game for Magnus?
White is definitely making some serious progress.
Yeah.
I think it might be. There was one move, I think just before move 40, where Magnus had a huge opportunity, but since then, this is maybe the best position he's had.
Yeah.
And notice he's going forward on every turn. Earlier, the white pawn pushed forward. Now the white king has stepped as far forward as possible, and the white knight, yes, it's on the edge of the board, but is acting as a shield for the white king. And yeah, we talk about progress in endgames, but just kind of achieving a goal, a small mini goal, and then moving on to the next goal. And Magnus is achieving it step by step. So yeah, for sure, the computer might say it's still a draw, but Nepomniachtchi is going to start getting...
And it seems like black's queen is on the wrong side of the board here.
Yeah.
It
needs to be behind.
It needs to be behind. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be running out of oxygen in this area of the board, so I'm sure it will switch back around to come behind or something here.
And according to Sese, it's winning for white.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Right, what's
just
that?
before this
Queen
last move...
H7. What's this?
Okay, the queen stepped back attacking the white rook.
Why? Why is it going this way? I don't understand it.
There's a clever move
Look
here.
at the bar. What's happening? Is Magnus winning?
He's winning.
Yeah.
He can actually push his pawn forward, leave the white rook attacked, and this would be winning pretty much instantly. The computer says checkmate in 38, but I think it's going to be actually easier than that.
Wow.
Look at this. Stockfish confirms. White has one move that's much better than all the others, and Magnus has just leaned forward. I think he spotted it. This is not obvious. This is not easy for a human. Your rook is attacked. You want to defend it or move it, but you can actually leave that rook where it is, and that move wins.
Can we show it on the board?
Yeah, we have to show it.
So if you push the pawn, it leaves the rook on pre. But why can't black take that rook, David?
Yeah, so the queen attacking the rook, if the pawn marches forward, queen takes rook is met by a knight fork. Knights are the trickiest pieces in chess. This is a check, and next move, you win the black queen. And yeah, as long as you have one pawn left in this type of situation to become a queen later, you win the game. A knight on its own wouldn't win, but this pawn would.
What an opportunity. He's got 2 minutes. 2 minutes to find it.
Is he going to find it? This pawn push.
Yeah.
We should mention rook to f6, so just moving the rook to safety is also strong. So maybe that's going to tempt Magnus. It's a safer option. But this one would pretty much win the game because actually black is just tied down. Black can barely do anything. If you move the king, there's a nasty check, and the black queen drops as well. If you check, then actually white has a variety of moves. You can even just sidestep. And the same idea. If queen takes pawn,
so what if black tries... I think black's put the queen on the wrong square. The black queen is running out of oxygen because it's too near the white pieces. So what if white tries to swing it all the way over? Has he played it? Has he gone for it?
He's played the winning move.
He's played it. He's done it.
Let's also now get Jan Nepomniachtchi in the picture. Is he noticing this?
Okay. Oh, he's frowning. He's leant forward. He's trying to keep a poker face, but he knows he's in big trouble now. The Russian is about to go down. After all of that defense, after defending successfully for 130 moves, he put his queen on the wrong square, on the wrong circuit, and it's game over almost.
Unbelievable. This is what pressure does. This is what this ongoing attack does. And Magnus is just pressure.
And focus now, look at him.
And total focus. He realises here. I mean, I still don't quite see it if the queen comes all the way over to a7 to win, but I'm trying to work it out now. But
it's just that the white king can advance, and he can advance safely with no checks.
Right.
And that is the big issue. Yeah.
Wow.
White rook's going to step two squares forward.
Yeah, okay, it's
the
maybe
knight
simple.
is going to come and give check.
Wow.
No.
This game could be over any moment,
Can't
actually.
believe it. So this is going to be the round forgot what round we're in.
Six.
Round 6 win. That happens so often in the World Championships, and this is going to be such a blow for Jan. Let's remember, Jan was winning this game. He was winning this game, and this is going to be horrendous for him to lose this. Yeah,
that's
horrendous.
After almost 8 hours as well, and he's got 2 more games to play before the rest day. And he's spending a lot of time now, ticking under 1.5 minutes to save this game.
And Simon, I've got to give you credit. You called it a long time ago. Despite the computer saying 0.0 for 50, 60 moves, you said practical chances. It's so easy for White to play. It's so easy for Black to blunder. And Magnus, he did nothing for so many moves, but when he started pushing forward, he allowed Nepomniachtchi to go wrong, and Nepomniachtchi failed to find the right solution.
And he's only got a minute left now, but I mean, if Magnus finds the right moves, he will win this game.
And is that hard? Is it hard for Magnus to be accurate in this situation?
You can still go wrong here.
No, not really.
Can you win on the spot?
He can move his rook to the f7 square.
You can move your rook 2 squares forward. Remember, if the Black Queen takes this pawn in the centre...
Got to find this move, though.
Yeah.
Got to find this move. If he finds it, he wins. Yeah.
But
which move does he have to find?
He has to find the rook moving up 2 squares, and then the knight will come in and give a check. I mean, he saw the original tactic.
Winning king and pawn, if you take the
exactly.
If
Magnus picks up his rook and moves it
2 squares
forward, he's winning. Look at the bar.
That's it.
18.5 for the world champion.
Massive. Is he
and
has
he done it?
Has he done it?
He's found it.
He's played it.
Wow.
He's done it.
Well, look at that. Look at the bar. Will Jan Nepomniachtchi resign now?
Let's keep an eye on the players.
He won't resign.
I think he's going to resign.
He can't resign.
Let's get both players in the picture to see what happens now.
But what else can he do? White's knight next move is just going to go up to check, and then the white pawn's going to march forward and make a new queen.
That pawn's coming. Eddie the eagle has going to land on e8 here.
Wow.
And one line here is if you take the pawn, it's very close to being a draw, but there's only going to be 1 pawn remaining, and that pawn is the winning pawn.
We'll show this a bit later on.
It's crazy, of course.
We can't go away from the players right now, but we will show this variation.
I mean, how long has this gone on for? This is incredible.
7 hours and 45 minutes. 134 moves.
Wow, unbelievable.
Crazy.
I mean, this is Magnus power. He's trying anything he can now.
Okay, he's moved his king across 1 square, so...
But maybe just pawn on. E7, doesn't that win?
Well, hang on, then the king can run to the e8 square, so maybe
then knight check, knight f6 check, yeah?
But then king takes rook and king takes knight, and it's not over yet.
So you can still mess it up if you're called Simon, but if you're called Magnus, you probably won't here.
But look at this. White has another pawn in his pocket.
Right.
They march forward together.
Torturous.
We talked about the pawns, the rook, the knight, all of them now combining in harmony together, and next move, the white pawn's going to step up, check, against the black king, and white's going to make a new queen. It's game over now.
Wow.
No hope for Nepomniachtchi. Look at Magnus as well, wiping his face.
He knows it.
He knows he's got it. He's clinched
it. Unbelievable. I mean, you can tell that, you know, you should never relax until it's over, but he's just taken a bit of a side there. And this has been an incredible game.
And in that classic Magnus Carlsen fashion as well, people have questioned his motivation. Is he still the same? And he plays for 7 hours and 45 minutes. Everyone's saying this is a draw, and he clinches it.
Yeah. And this last move is so classy, I've got to say, by Magnus. He's allowing checks, but he's going to run with the white king all the way in front of the white knight. He's going to march his king the whole way up the board to sit in front of the white knight.
Brilliant.
And no more checks. And the white pawn will make a new queen.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I have a question.
Final touch. So sophisticated. And
no stalemates, nothing.
I have a question for you both. Is this the type of loss that is maybe going to cause Jan Nepomniachtchi to tilt?
To crumble.
Yeah.
I think this would
because
cause
it's devastating. You know,
I mean, who would not be upset after this?
Right.
This is incredible. You were winning, you were drawing, it's a long game, you're tired.
He fought hard.
He played really
so
well.
Long.
And, I mean, this could crush a lot of people.
It's going to be so interesting to see in the next 2 days now, tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, we have our first win.
There we go.
We have it.
We have a handshake.
The first decided game, and we hear applause from Dubai. Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, in game 6. That always ends up with drama, and he wins it, and they actually talk about it.
No, but in general, yeah. Okay, I mean, in the Blitz game, yeah.
I missed what he said. Did he say
something about a Blitz game?
In a Blitz game, I think he said White has decent chances to win, despite the fact it should be a draw.
Yeah.
27, so it's fine.
And Magnus trying to remember something.
It's been a long game, a lot to remember.
Hard to remember after 7.5 hours, right?
I'm impressed with Jan sitting there discussing.
I mean, basically everything draws with the game. Just
Everything draws.
And I think he was just rewinding all the way back to 34 there.
you can't
Just a critical moment.
Just the gun works the time. Should be draw,
Huge win for the world champion. He has been struggling so hard to get Jan Nepomniachtchi out of the openings. And in game 6, he manages.
Yes, I think it will to the feed.
This is one of those situations where, as Magnus, you probably want to punch the air and celebrate, but you don't want to annoy your opponent by doing that. You just do that when you get off the stage and no one can see you. Then you can do a little celebration.
Yeah.
So
I think inside he's doing a little
very happy
jig.
Yeah.
I mean, what a breakthrough. And what an incredible game it has been. 136 moves.
A world record, the first win of the 2021 match.
Had all the drama elements to it,
This is why we love chess. Wow. And is he sitting down? Is he that tired? No, he had to pick up a score sheet. Magnus Carlsen, he now leads the match by 1 point to Jan Nepomniachtchi. And now 8 games remain in this match. Jan Nepomniachtchi will have to make a comeback at some point. And I think I see a smile on Magnus's face eventually.
Yeah.
7 hours and 45 minutes later, he is the winner of game 6. We are so eager now to hear reactions from both Magnus and Jan. But for Jan Nepomniachtchi, he's been playing fantastically so far in the match, and to get this loss, how devastating is that?
Yeah, even for 130 moves today, he played fantastically. It's devastating, but he knows he has 8 more opportunities to turn it around. It does, however, mean he has to completely rip up his match strategy and start taking more risks. The match is going to completely change now. We were complaining about the draws. I don't think we'll see that many more boring draws. Every match is going to be a complete fight now to the bitter end. And there we see Eric Rosen, a famous photographer.
With a lot of coffees or something.
Yeah.
So, but I totally agree. I mean, this has changed the match quite a lot because they were playing, well, Jan's strategy has been play very solid chess, try to get a small advantage. And, he's, even when he gets an advantage against Magnus yesterday, he wasn't really converting. So I think he has to try a little bit more dangerous style now. He has to take more risks. So the match could really open up. Wow. We could get much more attacking chess, many more decisive results.
Yeah, he's got to go to plan B, right?
Yeah.
Definitely plan A has been thrown out of the window. And tomorrow he will be playing with the white pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge